Thank you so much, Jane. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Reverend Allison Duran Sutherland, and it is my honor to welcome you to the Rogue Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, or RVUUF, here in Ashland, Oregon. I've been a part of this community for over a decade because Unitarian Universalism lived in my heart before I knew it had a name. RVUUF's minister, Reverend Sean, is on summer rest and study leave until August 13th, and today I am so excited to have former RVUUFian Diane Werich with us to share her faith journey. Diane and I served on the RVUUF worship team together for several years, and Diane was able to help me see past the ways in which the Judeo-Christian scriptures have been used to do harm so that I could engage with them as one of the many rich sources of our living tradition. I'm so happy Diane's here with us this morning. And I'm also happy to welcome you to our service, both online and here in the Great Hall. We want to especially thank the members of the stream team, thank you so much, and the neighborhood team who makes this service happen in person. If you're a newcomer, we invite you to sign up for our mailing list at our website, RVUUF.org. You will receive a weekly email that gives you all the information you need to make your decision about whether you'd like to join us on Sunday morning in person or online. You will also learn about many other great things going on at RVUUF. We are so glad to have you with us for this service, and we invite you to join us in our mission, embracing diversity, empowering connection, and engaging in the work. We begin each service by acknowledging that our building is built on land that began as the home of the Cow Creek Umpqua, Lakawa, Takelma, and Shasta peoples. We remind ourselves that Indigenous people have been here since time immemorial, and they are still here, part of our communities, continuing to experience the effects of colonization and conquest. We are committed to fighting for the worth and dignity of Indigenous people, both in our community and around the world. These services are a part of that work. Welcome. And thank you for being with us this morning.
I'm Diane Werich, and I would like to extend a welcome to everyone. And I would also like to say what a privilege it is to share the dais with one of the women I admire most in the world, Reverend Allison. It is a love affair. We light this chalice every Sunday to bring light into our world. Today, I'd like to use the words of my favorite Buddhist Jewish poet, Leonard Cohen, to usher the light in. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in.
Please join me this morning in our first song of the day. It's in your gray hymnal, number 38, Morning Has Broken. Please rise as you're comfortable.
Praise for the singing. Good morning. I am Bill Montfort, and with me lighting the candle is Rosalie Wolf. We are here this morning as members of the Anti-Racism Study Group here at RVUUF. We light our candle this morning to remind us of our deep commitment to acknowledging conscious and unconscious racial bias that is embedded deep within our culture and continues to threaten racial justice for all people. We also hope to open that crack that was referred to earlier. I am a member of the group because anti-racism study is about investigating, being curious, and naming implicit cultural bias without placing blame, guilt, or shame. This involves learning to be comfortable with talking about uncomfortable concepts such as privilege, status, or the complicity of remaining silent. I intend to be an activist in part by breaking out of the hold that social bias has on me and building social trust with each other here at RVUUF and in the greater community.
It has become our practice to light a candle each week for peace. We take this moment to call to mind our commitment to peace of mind, peace in our homes, peace in our communities, and peace in the wider world. Today's words are from Rabbi Dana Ruttenberg's blog, Life is a Sacred Text. The Torah is a chiasm, a textural sandwich in which what matters most is at the center. The centermost book is Leviticus. The centermost chapter is 19. The centermost verse, love your neighbor as yourself. I am God. That's it. That's the heart, the beating, living heart of the Torah. That's what pumps blood out into the rest of Judaism, the rest of the mitzvot, the rest of spirituality, the rest of service to the divine, the rest of our work down here as people, the rest of everything.
I am so rusty.
Pull it out.
Salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Albert Einstein. Although I am a typical loner in daily life, my consciousness of belonging to the invisible community of those who strive for truth, beauty, and justice has preserved me from feeling isolated. The most beautiful and deepest experience a person can have is a sense of the mysterious. It is the underlying principle of religion, as well as serious endeavors in art and science. Anyone who has never had this experience seems to me to be, if not dead, then at least blind. To sense that behind everything that can be experienced, there is something that our mind cannot grasp, and whose beauty and sublimity reaches us only indirectly and as a feeble reflection. This is religiousness. In this sense, I am religious. To me, it suffices to wonder at these secrets and to attempt humbly to grasp with my mind a mere image of the lofty structure of all that there is. End of quote.
This morning, we are going to learn not only a new song, but a different kind of song. From the Jewish tradition, there is something called a nigun. And nigunim, the plural of a nigun, are wordless songs. There are three kinds. The first one is the purpose to commune with God. The second is after a religious service or Shabbat. And the third, which is today's example, is a dance. None of these songs have words, and the Hasidim at some point decided, let's come up with some syllables that we can insert instead of words, and it will make it easier to sing along instead of, humming or something. You might think of an example. A composer's nod to the nigun was in, if you remember, Fiddler on the Roof, the musical. And there's a song in there, If I Were a Rich Man, and he sings, daga, 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 that kind of thing. That's typically what you would hear with a nigun. So rise as you're comfortable, and I'm going to teach you your first nigun today. It's called Bim Bam. Those are the only words you need to know. Can I have a, whoops, I'll give myself a D. Goes like this. Bim, bam, biddy, biddy, bam, biddy, biddy, bam, bam, biddy, biddy, bam. And I'll sing it for you. Bim, bam, biddy, biddy, bam, biddy, biddy, bam, bam, biddy, biddy, bam. So the first one is a little bit longer, and then it's bam, bam, and then it's a little bit longer again. So it goes, bim, bam, biddy, biddy, bam, biddy, biddy, bam, bam, biddy, biddy, bam. Good, and then the second half is bim, bam, bim, bam, bim, bam, biddy, biddy, bam. With me? Bim, bam, bim, bam, bim, bam, biddy, biddy, bam. And so the first part we sing, and then we go into the second part, and then we're going to sing that more melodic part again. So with me, I'm going to sing it, then you sing it. Bim, bam, biddy, biddy, bam, bim, bam, biddy, biddy, bam, biddy, biddy, bam, bam, biddy, biddy, bam, biddy, biddy, bam, bam, biddy, biddy, bam, bim, bam, bim, bam, bim, bam, biddy, biddy, bam. Bim, bam, bim, bam, bim, bam, biddy, biddy, bam. From the beginning. Bim, bam, biddy, biddy, bam, biddy, biddy, bam, bam, biddy, biddy, bam. Bim, bam, bim, bam, bim, bam, biddy, biddy, bam. From the beginning. And bim, bam, biddy, biddy, bam, biddy, biddy, bam, bam, biddy, biddy, bam. Bim, bam, bim, bam, bim, bam, biddy, biddy,
last time I was here, I could wear my glasses and actually see you too. But now I can't see you if I have my glasses on, and I can't see the paper unless I have my glasses on. These are one of the big dilemmas of life, huh? I am so happy to be here. I spent many rich years here and was no stranger to this free pulpit. I am a little rusty, as you saw with the gong. It's been a long time. I was a member of RVUUF for 36 years. And then a year ago, I converted to Judaism. And today I'll tell you about that journey. I want to begin by sharing a bit of the process of doing a service. Many of you have done services here, and we all have different ways to move. Mine is sharing my experience so others sometimes see themselves in a new way through my words and experience. I know that happens for me when I'm listening to another sharing. We're all not so different. The other thing that happens for me is taking a deep dive into a topic. Services I have done are usually not as personal as this one today. But no matter the topic, I come away with a new relationship with what I have studied. I have done services on Jesus, Universalism, Memorial Day, fear, and one titled Hard Hats and Life Preservers, and many more. Each deepened my journey. Each gave me gifts, sometimes ones I never expected or even wanted. I'm very grateful to all the years of learning this UU free pulpit gave me. So many memories and so many opportunities to lead and follow and learn and pursue a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, my truth and meaning, your truth and meaning. You see, my conversion to Judaism was a Unitarian Universalist success story. Well, what the heck do I mean by that? How is someone leaving a success? Reverend Sean had the answer to this question. When I told him I was converting to Judaism, his reply went something like this. That is what happens with our free religion that encourages each to find their spiritual path. So yes, this Unitarian Universalism put no limits and no blockades to my search, and mine led to Judaism. I want to do three things today. First, I want to share a bit of my path to Judaism, and then I want to tell you about the Jewish movement of Reconstructionism, which is the affiliation of Temple Emek Shalom. And third, I want to open some doors for the temple and RVUUF to deepen the connections with each other. Of course, all of what I say today only reflects my understanding of Judaism and Reconstructionist Judaism. I'm a beginner in understanding and knowledge. My journey in Judaism began in 2019 when my youngest daughter, Margaret, was engaged in her own search. She went to the used bookstore, shut her eyes in the religious section, and picked out a book as a guide. We used to do this whenever we felt we needed a little guidance. The book was called A Responsible Life by Rabbi Ira Stone. Rabbi Stone was a co-founder of a school of Musar, an old Jewish practice that guides you to an ethical, holy life. She called me in a few days and remarked she thought I would like Musar, and there was an online introductory class at another Musar school starting in a week. I signed up, loved it, but really felt it would be much better in person, so I called the temple. It turns out they have been doing Musar for years, and a new class was starting the next day. So serendipity was leading the way. She can be pretty sneaky. Rabbi Joshua Boddicker was leading the class. He is now the director of a Musar school in Philadelphia. Musar is simple and elegant and hard as hell. Our class met once a week. You also meet once a week with a study partner and once or twice a month with a mentor. Musar is a practice meant to be inclusive of every part of your life, a daily 24/7 practice. Study groups go on for decades. I think the Jews understand perhaps more than any other people that change comes slow and not without focus and sacrifice. This dedication was at once enticing and frightening. I felt like a dabbler in personal growth, and now I was called to get serious. I said it was simple, and it is. You take one quality called emidah and study it through writings and discussion. But during the time you're focused on, say, patience, my nemesis, you are noticing your own relationship with patience. You notice when you are and you aren't patient, for instance. And then you are called to begin changing your relationship with patience, using whatever methods work, or ones you've picked up from your groups. Then after a few weeks of study, you focus on another quality, like compassion or kindness or diligence. You slowly build your awareness and change behaviors using your knowledge and practice of each quality. And you do this in community. I have decided that I must live as long as Carola, at least, to even feel like an advanced beginner in this practice. During our classes, we would also address a Torah section. Each week, there is a Torah section for study. And in this week, every year, Torah, the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible, are studied. And when you finish around Rosh Hashanah, you begin again. This was the beginning of falling in love with Judaism. The stories had as many meanings, it seemed, as people in the room. The debates were invigorating. You know the old saying, 2 Jews, 3 opinions. In the meantime, my daughter Margaret had joined Musar and converted to Judaism in 2021. But remember, my daughter bridged from this dais, and so she was steeped in a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Well, knock me over with a feather. Then my daughter Jessica joined Musar and was talking conversion. I was falling in love with this elegant, messy religion, but I was not sure that conversion was in my cards. In many ways, I was shocked at the openness and permission to make your own meaning and temple emek. I did not know much about Judaism, and I sure did not know anything about Reconstructionist Judaism. I was, however, very interested in knowing more. So I took the year-long class with the idea of allowing myself to make a decision about conversion in that year. There was never any pressure from the rabbi. The Jews are not evangelists. In that year, I learned I had much affinity for the Jewish religion and people. I was a religious kid. I was always looking for the meaning of life and people. I went to Sunday school every Sunday at a Lutheran church. I loved the stories. I got that these stories were about bigger things than the facts of them. I was not always a welcome student, for I had a million questions. At 17, I left my religion because I could not believe in the divinity of Christ and the resurrection. As a teenager, I wanted to be Jewish. At least I wished for a Jewish family. Jewish families seemed devoted and interested in their children, whereas my family really didn't have the bandwidth for children. Later in college, my Jewish friends revealed the downside of all that interest. I spent many years searching for a church home until 37 years ago, I found Unitarian Universalism. Here was a safe place to dive into that search for truth and meaning. I raised my children here. I served in various capacities, and I have loved many of you. When I found Judaism at the temple in those Musar classes, I found an evolving, growing commitment to wrestle on a daily basis with God. I found a weekly look at the people of the Torah and their stories where my questions and comments were welcomed, embraced, and honored. And I loved that every year I got to wrestle with Abraham, his glories and flaws, his story and history. And every year I'm learning something new about myself, my world, and my beloveds. Jacob is my favorite and perhaps the most flawed of all the patriarchs. The matriarchs are not neglected in our study, even though Torah is a very patriarchal book, reflective of its time. But Torah has its heroines. They seem to always be a cut above all other women and men, but they are still there. I guess you just can't keep a good woman down. So I fell in love with Torah and God wrestling. Then I fell in love with the very earth-based rituals of Judaism, long an agricultural religion. I love that the rituals are demanding, last a long time, and fit so well into the seasons. Judaism is meant to change you, make you holier, and Judaism knows that requires daily attention and focus. Judaism is old, very old. It's had a lot of years to hone rituals to fit human growth. It is amazing to me that they created these rituals before psychology was even a thing. But they are all change rituals. All rituals designed to grow you, ground you in community, and help you move through the hardest parts of your life. Last week was Tisha B'Av. It is a day of fasting for the two destructions of the temple, which, although more than 600 years apart, fell on the same day. And there are other significant disasters which have also fallen on this day. It is a day of mourning. And then the next Shabbat service is a service to bring comfort. Yesterday, I attended such a service. It was 2 hours long. Comfort can take time. In Judaism, there is always a holiday with its rituals just around the corner. Days of mourning or celebration. There is always an inward focus for your own growth, but always a focus on what you can do for others. Judaism and its commandments of motherhood to two other major religions is a source of much good in the world and much that needs changing. Judaism gives me a clear view of the past, grounds me in the present, and gives me agency in creating the future. Another ritual I fell in love with is Shabbat. Perhaps the most brilliant idea anyone ever had. God rested, and so shall we. We will take our gaze and attention from the mundane world, and from sundown to sundown we will rest. We will pray, share food, leave the world be. We will not work. We will focus inside, converse with God, pay attention to our beloveds, be in nature, and regain our strength. Pure genius. There is so much more I would share about my journey to Judaism, but enough for now. This is no perfect offering. I have one more thing I want to share, reconstructing Judaism, because this movement has many similarities to Universalism, Unitarian Universalism. Mordecai Kaplan, who founded Reconstructionism, was a conservative rabbi in the early and middle 1900s. He had the idea that Judaism was a civilization and needed to evolve thoughtfully with the times. He wanted to introduce his thinking into all movements of Judaism, not create a new movement. Some of what was needed to evolve into modern times was the equality of women and the gender-based personal God references in rituals and prayers. But he also felt very strongly that the traditions, rituals, and practices should be preserved, but updated and reconceived. Thousands of years could not be tossed, but brought into modern times. Mordecai Kaplan was father to 5 daughters, and it was he who began the bat mitzvah. He also wrote a new Haggadah for Passover that caused endless controversy and threats of excommunication. I didn't know you could be excommunicated in Judaism, but obviously you could, at least then. He was part of the conservative movement, but not very conservative in many important ways. Can you see some similarities with Unitarians and Universalists' original questioning of their then Christian faith? I doubt many doubters believed a new religion would be born out of their dissent. I was recently reading a book on Alexander Hamilton's Jewish roots. There was a controversy over the Constitution allowing anyone but a Protestant Christian to hold office. And at the Massachusetts ratifying convention, one delegate voiced exasperation that a Turk, a Muslim, a Jew, a Roman Catholic, and what is worse than all, a Universalist may be President of the United States. Innovators always face consternation at their new ideas. And I think that perhaps the best few paragraphs explaining reconstructing Judaism is on their website, so I will quote them. These few paragraphs are under the heading, Deeply Rooted, Boldly Relevant, and they say, Reconstructionists approach Judaism and life with deep consideration of the past and a passion to relate it to the present. Applying our understanding of Judaism as the evolving religious civilization of the Jewish people, we draw from the wellsprings of Jewish tradition to face the challenges and opportunities of the current moment. The name Reconstructionism was adopted by Mordecai Kaplan in the 1920s to communicate that Judaism itself, its structures, beliefs, rituals, customs, and culture must be reconstructed in each generation to renew its relevance and sustainability. For Reconstructionists, God is understood not as something or someone to be believed in, but rather to be experienced in the everyday blessings of our lives and to be made manifest through our own living and righteous actions. We are proud to carry on Kaplan's legacy of grounded, purposeful, and brave innovation. End of quote. Reconstructing Judaism became a new movement in Judaism despite Rabbi Kaplan's original wishes. Like Unitarian Universalism, Reconstructionist synagogues are few, numbering a little over 100. And like UU congregations, they're pretty autonomous. And like Unitarian Universalism, Reconstructionism is a mouthful. What most drew me to this denomination of Judaism was the idea of revitalizing rituals, prayers, hymns with updated ideas, but not without much discussion and deliberation. It reminds me of the present discussion in Unitarian Universalism about an 8th principle. Neither of us undertake change lightly, but instead with much thought and using the democratic process. Although it may seem so, I did not stray far from my Unitarian Universalist beliefs, and I hope I was able to convey this to you. I also hope that you may be a little interested in seeing the ways our two congregations might share more together from the table of life.
Thank you so much, Diane. I'm called to mind about a concept that I learned about when I was studying the Hebrew scriptures, where this agricultural society would leave certain parts of their harvest in the field for those who needed food. On the first Sunday of each month here at RVUUF, we take a special offering for the Ashland Emergency Food Bank. And on the third Sunday of the month, we take an offering to support a local nonprofit. Today is the fifth Sunday of the month, which doesn't come around too often, but we also have a special offering every fifth Sunday for the Minister's Discretionary Fund. This is one way that we leave our grain in the fields for those in need to reap and eat. The Minister's Discretionary Fund helps people in our congregation and beyond meet their basic needs that would otherwise go unmet. This summer, the fund has mostly been paying toward rent and utilities for folks who would otherwise be evicted or have their power shut off. We're doing this work in partnership with ORA, Options for Helping Residents of Ashland, with the Jackson County Fuel Commission, and the St. Vincent de Paul Project of Our Lady of the Mountain Catholic Church. We always make sure to keep enough in the fund to cover an emergent need that might come up for anyone in our RVUUF community. And these fifth Sundays are our chance to replenish this fund so we can continue to make sure that injured workers, single moms fleeing violence, disabled elders, and other community members in need have a safe and cool place to live during these hot summer months. So my friends, on this fifth Sunday, please let us leave some of the grain in our fields. Let us put our grain in the offering basket to feed the needs of our community. The morning offering will be gratefully received. for these gifts and all the gifts you bring to this community. Thank you. I want to remind those of you who are joining us online that you are still able to give. You can mail a check with Minister's Discretionary Fund in the memo line to 87 4th Street, Ashland, Oregon, 97520. You can also visit tinyurl.com/RVUUF offering and choose Give to the Minister's Discretionary from the fund menu. And if you are in need of help or support, please contact us. We will do our very best to help. Thank you.
This morning we're going to sing hymn number 392 in your gray hymnal, Hine Ma Tov. I'm not sure if you are used to this song or not, but we're going to do it as a round. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over the words. 392. Y'all ready? Repeat after me. Hine ma tov umanayim. Hine ma tov umanayim. Shevet achim gam yachad. Shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma atov. Hine ma atov. Shevet achim gam yachad. Shevet achim gam yachad. We're going to sing it in English the first time so you know how the tune goes. Jane's going to play it for us right now. And we repeat it, but we won't this time. And it repeats again. Please rise as you're able, and let's sing it in English first. Ready? And how good it is and how pleasant for people to dwell together. Repeat. How good it is and how pleasant for people to dwell together. Good and pleasant, people to peace together. Good and pleasant, people in peace together. And in Hebrew, Hina ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam ya. Repeat. Hina ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yad. Okay, so how about we start with, let's start with this half. We'll start with this half. We're going to sing it in Hebrew, and you repeat the first half twice and the second half twice. And when they get to the, see where it says fine? I'm going to come over here and cue you. But remember this, you're going to sing this part twice, you're going to sing this part twice, and then you're going to go back to the beginning until I kind of make it all silent. Okay, here we go. A D, please. I'll come and get you when it's ready for you to start. Ready, and. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yahad. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yahad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yahad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yahad. Hine ma shevet achim gam yahad. Hine ma tov manayim, shevet achim gam yahad. One more time. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yahad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yahad. Hine
step time. Hebrew is not an easy language. No, not at all. I am taking Hebrew lessons, and it is a mess. I lost, oh, here we are. Here we are. I don't need two pairs of glasses. When I was emailing about the music with Julie, she said, I believe there is only one religion with many doors. I had never heard the unity of religion put this way. Thank you, Julie, for sharing that. It has rumbled around in my head since then. It is my hope that my two loves, Unitarian Universalism and Judaism, Roof and Temple Emek, Shalom, can build stronger connections with each other in the coming years. Reverend Sean has expressed the same desire. Temple Emek and Roof are both doing anti-racism work. Both are focused on climate change. Both feed the hungry. Both love music and words. Both are big foodies. And both are open to a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. That is a lot to build on. May it be so, and may we be the ones to make it so.